Well, this is what we're seeing in the world of autonomous remediation. There are a lot of companies who will do autonomous threat hunting. They will do case, alert orchestration and things like that. But it's like they run 100 miles an hour and stop right at the line of doing the autonomous remediation without doing the final step. It's, you all you've done is just created more things for the SOC team, the human team, to look at, but that you really haven't taken any work away from them or time, and you haven't really made it better for them. They just gave them more things to look at.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to LoopStudio Talks. Today, I thought we have an incredible guest. Most of the world knows my guest, Marvin Wheeler, for building the physical cathedrals of internet, scaling TerraMark to $1 billion exit with Verizon. But today, we are not talking about the centers or NAP of the Americas. We are talking about the 99%, the small and medium-sized business that are currently being outgunned in a digital landscape where they can afford the same armor as Fortune 100 companies. Marvin is the co-founder of Tier4 AI. They have built something I have seen very few people pull off, a truly autonomous enterprise-grade shield designed specifically for the budget and scale of an SMB. Marvin, it's great to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very good, very good, very good, Eduardo.
I want to start with a question about the present. You have spent 30 years at the highest level of global infrastructure. You have been seeing the world move to the cloud, and now you are watching it move toward AI. When you look at Tier 4 AI today, what is the one specific pain or gap in the security world that made you say, I have to build this because if I don't do it, these companies are defenseless?
Well, thank you. So, first of all, I want to thank you for only saying 30 years because it's actually longer. So, I like the 30 reference. That's good. Number two. So the thing is that what we're seeing is that because AI attacks are so easy to execute, the bad guys, it's cost effective for them to go after small and medium business that have less defense to be able to stop them. In the old days, it was so expensive. You had to hire a whole room full of very expensive analysts to be able to do a hack. So therefore, it was only worth it if you went after a Fortune 500. Now, yeah, they only cost them pennies to go after everybody. They can do a blast to go after 1,000 SMBs with one attack, and if they get one or two, then that's great, and it didn't cost them anything. So, they're very, very vulnerable. The other thing that we talk about how in the earlier years you would talk about dwell time, like how long does it take for a bad guy once they're in your network? How long does it take for them to actually gain your control of your network and encrypting all your files and take over your systems? We used to talk about that in months. They would be in there for months. Then it was they're down to weeks. Then it was days. Then it was hours. Now with AI, they can be in and own your system within minutes. So we kind of put two and two together that the SMB mid market is extremely vulnerable to this to the attackers. And if you don't remediate within a minute or two, couple minutes, you could be fully encompassed by their ransomware. So the only way to really do that is using AI at machine speed. It's something that legacy human led security operations cannot keep up with. They just cannot, they can't remediate at the speed necessary to have the remediation occur before the bad guys have taken control.
That's incredible. When I look, one thing it's clear: the current security model is broken because it relies
Yes.
too much on people. AI is changing this, and there's a huge surge in AI startups, in AI security startups. You mentioned that traditional providers need dozens of analysts who are overworked, burned out, and honestly making mistakes because they are drawing in the noise. And that's people. You have built Tier 4 AI to be a force multiplier. How does your platform solve the human problem without just becoming another piece of software that creates more work for an already stressed IT manager?
It's a great question. It's one we get all the time because they talk about there's a lot of noise in the industry with security automation and all that. But here's the thing: is that again, I once recently posted on LinkedIn when it used to be everybody had their own servers. And then this sort of cloud technology came along, and some people were early adopters and jumped right in. And then others said, no, 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 I'm never going to do it. Not my data. I'm not sticking it on the cloud ever, 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 ever. Boom. And then they do it because now there's not a company out there that doesn't use the cloud. Well, this is what we're seeing in the world of autonomous remediation. There are a lot of companies who will do autonomous threat hunting. They will do case, alert orchestration and things like that. But it's like they run 100 miles an hour and stop right at the line of doing the autonomous remediation. And, because there is some negativity out there and things like that. But the fact is, without doing the final step, it's you all you've done is just created more things for the SOC team, the human team to look at, but that you really haven't taken any work away from them or time, and you haven't really made it better for them. They just gave them more things to look at. Here in the United States, they have a bank commercial and they show the bank getting robbed, and the security guard is laying on the floor with all the customers, and the customer says to him, hey, I thought you were the security guard. And he goes, no, no, no. I'm just a security monitor. Yep, you're getting robbed. I'm monitoring it. And that's sort of what happens with these other things. They will do a lot of the investigation, but they stop at the remediation line. We believe that fully autonomous remediation is the only way to get it solved within a couple minutes. It's the only way to stay ahead of the bad guy. And quite frankly, you come back in 6 months or a year from now, and you'll see that more people have finally realized that you need to do autonomous remediation.
That's incredible. It's unbelievable how everything is changing and how fast and how your
Yeah.
engine is super powerful. I want to talk about the Maverick engine. In your metrics, you
Okay.
show a mean time to response of just 3.2 minutes, and that's incredible in this industry. In the
Yeah.
cybersecurity world, that is the difference between a minor blip and a company-ended catastrophe.
Hmm.
Walk me through those 3.2 minutes. When a threat hits in a mid-sized law firm or a manufacturing plant using Tier 4 AI, what is the AI doing in those first 180 seconds that a human analyst simply could not do?
Well, so it's not fair to say they couldn't do it. They could do it, but it would be hours, not 180 seconds. So we're not doing anything different than what a human does, other than we're doing it so much more efficiently and so quickly. So when we read in, we don't require anybody to change whatever endpoints devices they have. If they use SentinelOne or CrowdStrike or Microsoft Defender, doesn't matter to us. They have different identity manager tools, different email security tools. It doesn't matter. We're agnostic to that. So anyway, we take in the alerts from all of those via API. So it does not require to load an agent in your system. It doesn't require to go put a collector out there to collect information and all that. It's just the API. We take that data in, we take threat intelligence. So all our customers basically are getting free threat intelligence feeds. We take all this threat intelligence from multiple feeds, by the way, and we correlate all the information. We determine, what the severity is. Is it a false positive? We determine, is there other devices or other users that are affected? Is this particular case, is it related to others? Is other people solving it? So if it's multiple cases, obviously it goes higher on the priority scale. We ask the LLM, all right, based on all this, what's the right recommendation? And this is what gets very important. When the LLM comes back, it says recommends what to do, but we have our own man in the middle kind of code that validates that the answer we got is valid. And because everybody's worried about runaway LLMs and so on and so forth. And so anyway, all of that happens at machine speed within a couple minutes, and you'll see right on the UI the priority ranked alerts that you need to pay attention to. If you have turned the dial to be full automation, we give every customer the option. Do you want us to fully automate this, and then, or only in severe cases, or only in low cases, whatever? And there's a whole matrix there. They can pick and choose what they want us to autonomously do, or they can hit all and we'll do the whole 9 yards. We prefer the whole 9 yards because we're getting the most efficient results. But anyway, we give them the option, they give us the results, and when they click on that case, within a minute or two of it happening, all of the actions are already performed, and it shows right in there. So all of that is happening in just a minute or two. And it also tells them, is there any other related cases is this widespread, or is this one individual?
And in a world that everything is timing and money, because every second
Yes.
counts, every second is valuable, and you need to be on top of that.
Yes.
One of the most unique things about Tier4 AI is your focus on transparent investigation. A lot of executives
Mhm.
are scared of AI because they don't know why it's making decisions. They are afraid the AI will protect their network by accidentally shutting down their most important servers.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
does Tier4 AI provide transparency? How do you give a CISO the peace of mind to trust on
So
that?
here, it's a great question. What we've done is, first of all, when a customer and or a service provider logs in and builds the team, there's an administrator, and then the administrator can add any team member they want. They can add them, and they give them different roles, so that some can update, some may only be read only. You may want to, executives in your company want to see it, but you don't want to have them in there modifying things, so you give them a read only. But in some cases, the service provider has worked out with their end user customer that they want to see what's going on. So all they have to do is add the end user ID in there, and now the end user has the ability to see everything that's happening in the system. A lot of times those are very valuable to the end user, because even if they're not watching minute by minute what the actions are, there's a whole dashboard there of, mean time to recover, remediate and all that kind of stuff that helps them, the hours saved. So they may be going in a meeting and they say, hey, I need some ammunition for my meeting. So they'll log on, capture some of the dashboard information, download it, and print it and take it into the meeting with them and things like that. So we have given the service provider and or the end user the full ability. Anybody you want to look at what's going on, they can. So I think that what scares people a lot is that they see these autonomous systems more like a black box out in the horizon there, that they don't know what's going on. We're letting everybody internally, externally, whoever needs to can have an ID and see what's going on.
That's fantastic. We could say the end of the black box, full transparency with the platform.
Yeah, and by the way, when we provide the recommendations of the actions, and we take the actions and so on, there's also there's boxes there where the end user, the customer, anybody could type in comments, and the AI will absorb that information as it goes forwards. There may be some nuances within a given company that they want, like something a little different. They can type that in, and the AI will absorb that information and learn from.
That's something fantastic. Now let's go to, you have a specific stat that jumped out to me, like 45 hours of analyst time
Mhm.
saved per month. For the
Yeah,
average customer, that's an instant ROI.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
win for the MSSPs or the internal IT teams. And what does that reclaim time actually look like? Are we talking about the end of the tier 1 analyst role as we know it, or we're just finally giving those people their lives back?
See, so two things. One, if you're a large MSP that has lots of customers, those hours saved will go up much higher, because if if you've got 100 customers, you could save hundreds of hours. So it's, the bigger the customer, the more that time saved comes into play. But do you ask about the end of tier one? I think this is a problem of the industry, legacy industry. Nobody wants to be that tier one because they take the job as an entry level job and they feel like they're doing this mundane thing all day long. They're not really learning, and you have a lot of turnover. So if you were to poll 25 companies that have a large SOC, they will tell you the retention at the tier one level is very difficult. A lot of times they have to work midnight hours, they have to work weekends, and they're not doing as much meaningful work as they want to. One of the differences today than it was when I was coming out as a young person. Everybody wants to be the CEO in 1 year. So they want to learn, they want to grow, they want to keep going. What I believe is we're changing that for tier one people. We're taking away the mundane tasks that they get bored doing, or and all that. And what we're leaving for them is to spend more time on root cause analysis, to do things that they grow from in their career. So I don't think we're getting rid of tier one. We might be collapsing tier one and tier two together, maybe. But what we're doing is we're making the job much more meaningful. I don't know. I don't know a good comparison. If you have a home designer, they don't want to be in vacuum and mopping the floors. They want to be designing the new interior. That's what we're able to do for the SOC analysts, is take away the stuff that they don't feel like doing all day. By the way, wink, wink, do it better and do it faster, but nonetheless, take that away and leave them with things to do they're learning, they're growing, they're enhancing their career.
That's incredible. And at the end, we're going to minutes, cons.
Yeah.
Everything is an industry of timing, and every time in risk, and even onboarding is important. We see so
Yeah,
many
and
enterprise
you just
tools.
said something
They
about that. You just Eduardo, I apologize. You just said something that really triggered me. So the other thing that happens when I say about they're able to do all this other more meaningful work is they're doing it without the gun in their ear. So there's a difference when you're looking for root cause analysis. You're trying to go in depth. You're looking at all sorts of things we give them in the platform about how often has this happened, and a lot of historical information. It's a lot easier to look at that information and take your time and absorb it when you know that the root cause, the initial problem has been remediated already. While you're still worried about, how do I get this device offline? How do I get rid of this bad file? How do I get this bad hash deleted? Whatever. While you're worried about that, you can't be concentrating on all this other stuff. You're in the foxhole with bullets flying. So we're over here. We're stopping the pressure, taking the pressure off, and allowing them to take a deep breath and go dig in.
100% easy way to work for the engineers and the teams and everyone involved in these cases. And getting back, we see so many enterprise tools that take months to deploy. And you claim that Tier4 AI has simplified onboarding that happened in under 10 minutes via vendor APIs. As a technologist, how did you collapse that? How do you go from unprotected to fully autonomous in the time that it takes to grab a coffee?
Yeah. So it's like I say, you better make sure that coffee pot's not too far away because we're very quick. So don't be dilly dallying over there at the coffee pot, or it'll be well over. So you said in the beginning, why did I want to create? The fact is, our CTO, co-founder John Tickner, and actually the Loop Studio development team, they're the ones building it. I'm the one talking about it, but they're the ones building it. And they've done a fantastic job. I think that it's the best team out there. But everything that has happened from the very beginning is all about simplified, simplify, simplify. And so everything they do is with that in mind. So the way that the system is built, literally, with not that much hands-on technical capability, could create a new customer and have it up and running in just a minute or two, because all you have to do, it's panel driven. You just click on and add in the customer name, You add in the users from your group who's allowed to work on that customer. And more likely, you're just going to click all. So that only takes a second. You go down, we have an integration page. You just click the 2 or 3 tools or 4 tools that that customer has. Click, click, click. You add the API. We give a tutorial about how to get the API, and you're done. And then it's already flowing. The data starts flowing immediately. The results start happening immediately. So it's not one of these where it's a big heavy lift. You have to go dedicate, 3 of your engineers to go do this. You don't, there's no hardware to install. There's no real training. If people ask us, well, how long is it going to take for our team to learn how to use this? And I tell them a story that I won't go through the whole story here, but we participated in the state of Virginia with a high school group all over the state that has cybersecurity training and teams at the high school level. We created a tabletop for them, which is we put in a bunch of use cases that they had studied about solar winds, Equifax, all these big hack jobs that everybody's read about. They put into the data evidence of that. These high school students came into school on a Monday morning. They got an email that says, here's a URL to log into, which was our platform. Here's your user ID. Go. These kids, without 1 minute of training, logged onto the URL, typed in their user ID and password that we gave them, and boom, they were off and running doing the exercise, and they intuitively figured out how to do what they had to do. And we got letters back from the folks in the state of Virginia school system saying, "Oh, this is the best tabletop we ever had," because at the very front end of the exercise was the most realistic scenario they had ever used. And meanwhile, again, there was no training, none. They just jumped in and did it. So, and that's a long answer to your question, but it's that easy.
No, pretty clear, pretty clear. And thanks for mentioning us. We are proud of being part of this. It's something that it's for us. It's not something small. It's really changing for everyone. AI is something in there is, and AI plus security plus timing is what we need. You
Yeah.
mentioned a lot. Time matters, and this matters for every company, every institution. So for us, it's a fantastic product. Again, we are proud of being working together on this, and our team is happy to do this. So it's incredible.
Listen, I learned something. You mentioned the whole Terramark exit we had early in my career, is the middle of my career. The thing I learned most from that is that, you have to have a good team. There's an old saying that A's hire B's, B's hire C's. But for me, it's the other way around. I'm more of a C who hires A's. And, you have to have the best people. John was one of our co founders. He's as good as there is in the industry. And then as we've begun working with the Loop Studio team, they have not acted like contractors. They act like they're right up in it. When we tell them that we're doing a demonstration for XYZ company, and they get excited and they want to know, how did it go? How did it go? It's so I feel like what we have is a great team. When you look at now that we have taken in a VC round from Medina Capital, we have been adding in some sales, some additional technical help for John's, actually some more people from your team. And every one of them is a very high pedigree. And I believe that, when people ask all the time, like, well, what separates you from other companies like you in the market, besides the fact that there's some technical differences and all? And I tell them all, we have a great team. If you have a great team, everybody's in there swinging every day to try to make it successful. And nobody's, if we have a question in the middle of the night, we don't even think twice of calling one of your guys to say, hey, can you get out of bed and take a look at this? Nobody's ever said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm only on the clock 9 to 5. That just doesn't work at this stage. And so I think that that's just if there's any one thing, that's what it is. We have a great team. We have great people.
That's fantastic, and then I think that's for everyone and everyone that is listening or watching us. Like if you are starting a company or building a new project, the team is really important. And as you mentioned, you need a team there. I feel like I'm a C searching more A's to working with me and build great things. And the commitment of these people working with you is heavily important.
Right, right. I agree. And they're everyone on our team, your team, all one team is highly motivated. That's what you need. Everybody needs to be highly motivated.
That's a girl. Marvin, thank you so much for your time today, for sharing all of this. Everyone that is listening us, if you want to learn more about Marvin Company, please follow tier4ai.com and connect with Marvin Wheeler on LinkedIn or his partner and CTO, John Tignor. Thanks everyone for joining us at Loop Studio Talk. See you in our next episode. Thanks, Marvin.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you.